Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Elise, and this is 10 to Life, where we're talking all things true crime. The case we're talking about today is one that is an update, actually. It's an update in the case of the OnlyFans star, Courtney Tailor, who stands accused of murdering her boyfriend, Christain, also going by the name of Toby Obumseli. I've done 2 previous videos on this case where it goes into lots of detail of what happened that night. I show you lots of photos, lots of footage. So if you haven't watched those yet, I highly suggest you watch those first, come back to this video, and I will link those videos in the description box below as well, just so that you can find them easily. Now, this case first broke about a month ago, and it was all over the headlines because she is this beautiful OnlyFans model. They lived in this luxury high-rise in Florida, in Miami, I believe it was specifically, and there were photos and videos coming out on TMZ of her covered in his blood and the dog and just all sorts of stories and rumors, and I mean, it was a media frenzy. And it's kind of been quiet since then. We haven't really gotten a lot of information. She claimed self-defense, saying that it was a DV situation that she was in, while his family was claiming that she was actually the abuser. So this case kind of went silent, and a lot of people were up in arms because Courtney was seen out at bars just a couple of days later after the murder. No arrest had been made, she hadn't been charged with anything, and nobody really knew what was going on. But now we have some updates, and we have a lot of Christian's family actually speaking out, and actually also they went on the Dr. Phil show, and they're shedding an entire new light on this entire situation. So we have a lot of new details to go over, guys, and I cannot wait to hear what your thoughts are on this case. So let's get right into it.
10 to Life with Elise starts right now.
So how did the mother of Christain Obumseli find out that her son had been killed? Well, according to a recent interview with Dr. Phil that aired earlier this month, Christian's mom, who works as a nurse, received a phone call on Monday, April 4th, one day after Christian's death, notifying her of her son's status as an organ donor. And this was the first time that she heard anything about the incident.
To you?
Yes, I was at work, and the lady said that she's calling to know if I'll give them the permission for Toby to donate his organs. And I'm like, what? Donate what? I told her, I said, ma'am, I don't understand what you're saying. And she asked me, are you saying that the medical examiner's office has not contacted you? And that was on Monday. I gave my sister the number to call, and that's how we got to know that Toby was killed. The way the news came to me was very, very inhuman and devastating. And we got to know that it happened on Sunday.
Can you imagine that for a moment? You had no idea your son was injured, murdered no less, and you're receiving a phone call a day later saying that he's an organ donor. Imagine the thoughts that would be racing through your mind. Christian's father, Christopher, a technician, received a call from his oldest son, Jeffrey, while at work, which was unusual, telling him to come home because Christian is dead. Courtney Clenny, also known as Courtney Tailor on Instagram and through her OnlyFans account, is known for partying. The 25-year-old has 2 DWI arrests in her home state of Texas as well. She and Christian lived in Austin before they relocated to their beautiful high-rise in Miami, Florida together. In 2015, at just age 18, she got her first DWI, and she was sentenced to 3 days in jail. An arrest warrant for a 2020 incident shows that she crashed a white Mercedes into another car a few miles from the riverfront apartment complex where she lived at the time. And when the police came, they found a partially empty 750 milliliter bottle of tequila in the front seat. On a roadside breath test, she registered a blood alcohol content level of 0.300, more than 3 times the legal limit. Her lawyer declined to comment on this DWI arrest, saying, "It's not because I'm trying to hide anything, I don't know. I haven't talked to her about those matters and it's not relevant, but are there signs of substance abuse? Yeah, I mean, I would have to agree with that." And that is all he said. And I bring this up because it really is going to illustrate and go hand in hand with the story and some would say evidence out there that Courtney does lead a life of not only partying, but reckless behavior, dangerous behavior, and an alcohol-fueled state that could effectively, impair her judgment and her actions and push her to do things. She was 18 years old, had a DWI. She blew a .300, which is a lot of alcohol to consume to blow that amount. So clearly she was intoxicated, heavily so. The New York Post reported that she allegedly has a pattern of being the aggressor in relationships, and that in 2017, a former Mr. Olympia, who was dating Courtney at the time, suffered from a broken jaw. And it's been reported that Courtney may have been the one to cause that fracture. One friend said that Courtney also attempted to stab an ex-boyfriend, and the lawyer for Christain Obumseli's family said that he also interviewed an ex-boyfriend who claimed that Courtney tried to stab him twice.
A woman who insists on maintaining her anonymity claims she knew the couple. She says she's coming forward to tell the story of what she says she witnessed while spending time with them. You and your boyfriend did have the opportunity to witness Toby and Courtney together. What did you observe?
In the beginning, they seemed very in love and, they were having a lot of fun. And a few months in, it turned into something pretty dark. And we knew Toby before he started dating Courtney. So, to see someone like him who was always bright and social turn into someone that was always being pulled away, and you could visibly see how the relationship started to stress him out.
And who was doing the abusing?
Courtney, 100%.
So it was always her that you observed being abusive to him, not him abusing her?
Correct. It would be something where she would get upset over the smallest things, and then she would have to pull him outside. And then it always escalated into us hearing her screaming at the top of her lungs. Over time, we did see some physical violence on her end. With her job, he was catering to her full time, and not to say that he was miserable, he had fun traveling and stuff with her, but with that came the dark side of her always screaming and fighting with him. You can speak to anyone in the downtown scene here that she's worked with or has partied at, and everyone has stories, but she has a past. Unfortunately, this time it went too far, and we never once questioned whether it was a thing of self-defense. We knew there was a lot of violence going on there, and we never thought it would go this far, but there's no question in our mind. Toby was a victim. He was a victim 100%.
Now this is very concerning because obviously Christain died from stab wounds. So the fact that she has a history of trying to stab multiple ex-boyfriends, allegedly, is extremely concerning. The couple's friends said that Christain usually downplayed her aggression and he would blame it on her drinking, saying that he was always trying to be patient with her, and he was saying that she's only like this when she's drinking, she's not usually like this, always making an excuse. And the friends would just say, it's not cool, you can't just be getting the crap beat out of you and then excuse it because of alcohol. When Christain was killed, Courtney was due back in court in Texas for that DUI that she got in September of 2020. Additionally, she had a separate lawsuit against her for destruction of property. Christian's older brother, Jeffrey, has said that he wants a fair investigation of his little brother whose body remains in the morgue more than a month after his death. a cousin of the family and attorney, Karen, questioned the premature closure of the case that closed less than 24 hours after the killing, saying that prejudging without conducting an investigation is totally irresponsible. And the family lawyer also pointed out that if an autopsy were being conducted, it would not have been completed in just 24 hours.
Contact the detective, and he states that, that he's busy, they don't have any details to give us at this particular moment, that he'll call us back. We call back, I think maybe an hour later, and he was very dismissive. He was like, you guys need to give me time to do my job. We're saying, okay, well, can you just share anything that you know? All we know is that our family member has been killed. And he was just very, very cold. He wouldn't tell us what occurred until finally, when he called later on Monday evening, and he stated that, based on Courtney's reporting that Courtney had killed him in self-defense, and that there was enough evidence for him to, close the case, close the investigation at that particular time.
This was on Monday?
This was Monday.
Within 24 hours?
Within less than 24 hours, he had enough information to conclude that this was a domestic dispute, and based on the reports that he had, that was all the information that he needed.
So Christian's cousin told Dr. Phil what the detectives told her, that Courtney reported to the detectives that she thinks she threw a knife from some distance away and that the knife hit his clavicle, puncturing an artery, and that's how he died. I mean, that reminds me of like one of those axe throwing places where you have to hit the target. Is it likely? Probably not. Is it possible? Maybe. But to say that you're a ways away from somebody and you take a knife and you throw it and it lands, and if it's a sharp knife like that, the fact that it would point and get stuck in an artery and then cause to bleed out, like, if anything, you would think that it would, because the knives are so thin, it would hit and fall out. Like, she would have had to be like a knife thrower, in my opinion. It just does not seem extremely likely, and it really doesn't make sense to me. And so they question this too, saying, is she some sort of professional knife thrower? How does somebody throw a knife 10 to 20 feet away from somebody and that hit ends up being fatal? Probably not. Probably not. Christian was kind by all accounts. The 27-year-old had a good head on his shoulders and a very bright future. He was studying business and engineering. Meanwhile, Courtney used her Courtney Tailor persona that she had created on platforms like the We in Miami podcast to really brag that she was a white woman who only dates rich, older black men.
I'm Courtney Tailor, and I do OF for a living.
OnlyFans. You got like 1 million followers or something?
2 million.
Damn. You look like the type of girl that only dates like rich guys. Is that true?
No, that's not true. I only date black guys. Especially black guys. Especially black guys. Let me clarify. I only date rich black guys.
Rich black guys. There we go. And so you're toxic.
Yeah.
You can tell she like black guys. It's like, especially black guys. For all you watching, I'm with it. Do you like to be fully controlled, or do you?
I like to be submissive. Yeah, in the bedroom. Yes. But like in my life, I don't like anybody to tell me what to do.
Yeah, so you only want them to tell you what to do in the bedroom. Other than that, you don't want them to tell you anything.
Right. No, that's exactly it. Yes.
Mm. So that sounds like you're a control freak with your relationships. Be careful with this one. She's gonna boss you around like
exactly. Sweet toxicity.
So you only date rich black guys. So like, have you ever dated like any politicians, or only like rappers or athletes, or what kind of rich black guys?
No dope boys, no politicians.
Just strictly athletes.
I mean, well, dabble here, dabble there, a little bit.
Have you ever dated any celebrities?
Dated? Well, I mean, yes.
What celebrities have you dated?
Just like athletes. Jermichael Finley, but don't look him up. Don't look him up. Don't look him up because it's gonna make me look really bad.
How much do you make a month?
A lot.
Yeah, we make good money.
Like you make 6 figures a year.
Multiple six.
And a visitor at their luxury high-rise apartment complex who didn't even know Christian or Courtney recorded an argument between the two of them, where Courtney threatened to harm herself and then Christian attempted to calm her down. And this is what the cousin had told to Dr. Phil, saying that we've located witnesses that police haven't even interviewed yet. During that interview on Dr. Phil with Christian's parents, brother, and cousin, between clips of Courtney's arrogance and Christian's gleaming smile, questions were brought up, such as, if it were self-defense, where is the evidence for that? Another claim from Courtney's lawyer was the involvement of human trafficking. You know I can't say it here over on YouTube. And the family is quick to point out the absurdity of this claim, saying that she traveled as she pleased and that there is nothing to demonstrate her ever being held against her will, and that they don't have any evidence at all to support that Christian was ever making any money off of her, and that the family actually supported Christian in many ways financially. One of the biggest pieces of information in this case that had the public upset was that Courtney was captured on camera at a hotel bar having drinks with her dad less than a week after Christian was murdered. Before this, Courtney was on camera for the public to see and was in footage captured on the day of the murder, and this footage was released by TMZ. Courtney can be seen in a black bra and white pants, handcuffed and kissing her dogs, covered head to toe in blood. Following the incident, she was actually Baker acted, or committed to a mandatory psychological hold. And detectives told Christian's family that the couple had broken up earlier in the week, but then reconciled on the eve of the murder, on Saturday, April 2nd. A friend of his said that she watched him get pulled away, in her words, into a toxic relationship. And Samantha, who's a friend of Courtney's who traveled with her, said that Courtney told her Christian had been stealing from her for quite a few months now. A very interesting claim that, if proven to be true, does point to motive and could negate the self-defense claim that Courtney has going. As it stands, the investigation is ongoing. The 911 call and who made it has not yet been released, nor have the autopsy results. What we do know is that the family of Christian was carelessly notified of his death, and despite Courtney's history of reckless, violent behavior, she has not been arrested or charged yet in connection with this murder. And this status will remain until Florida's Stand Your Ground law is properly investigated, because this law allows that those who feel a reasonable threat of death or bodily injury to meet force with force rather than to retreat. So very similar to the Castle Doctrine, this law asserts that a person does not need to retreat if their home is attacked, and that's what they're investigating right now. She has now made this claim of self-defense, so they have to fully disprove that claim before any sort of charges or arrests can move forward. And Christian's body has still not been released into family custody. So I'm curious to know what you think about this. Now hearing Christian's family speak out, do you truly think that this was self-defense as Courtney is claiming? Do you believe that there was motive, such as Christian, skimming from the top of Courtney's earnings, and that's why she lashed out? Could she have lashed out in a altered state, which I'm really interested to know if they did any sort of breathalyzer on her or blood work on her at the scene of the crime to see what her drug or alcohol content level was. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are, because based on the information we have right now, which granted, it's not a full story yet, but based on the information we have right now, my intuition is not pulling me towards self-defense. I could be wrong, but just based on the pattern, the history, the testimony from friends and family of Christians, it doesn't seem like he was a violent person. Now, again, a lot of things happen behind closed doors and people can wear a lot of masks. So it's absolutely possible that he was and nobody knew about it. But for some reason, there's just something pulling me in the direction that this might have been a reaction to a lot of substances in the system and a lot of anger and hatred towards him. But again, I want to know your thoughts, so leave them in the comment section below. Thanks so much for tuning in with me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the case coverage. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up on your way out, and I will keep you updated on this case as soon as we have more details and information. So if you haven't done so yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you get notified of those updates. All right, guys, until the next case, stay safe. Bye.